Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to chime in on something of a hot button issue within the world of, I guess, biohacking, self improvement, self optimization, lifestyle enhancement, and all this other interesting stuff. Okay, so Brian Johnson, the quote unquote longevity entrepreneur, who I would call a neomaniacal fool, came down with autoimmune gastritis. Okay, you can look up the kinds of preoccupations and self alterations he was pursuing and figure out whether or not you think those are optimal for long term human health or not. Okay. Um, it's important to recognize that if you're interested in the sort of self enhancement space or the so called biohacking world, Brian Johnson is something of a new kid on the block. And before him, there was among other figures like, say, Dave Asprey and, Tim Ferriss and some others, there was Ray Kurzweil, who was an inventor and futurist. I believe he's still alive and hopefully he's more sane and healthy now. But at one point, Kurzweil famously took 250 supplements a day. Okay? And I'm not exaggerating when I mentioned that number. It was literally 250 supplements a day. So if you're out there and, you think, hey, maybe I can try like a few supplements every day to help me perform as well as I can in work or, other contexts that are consequential for my survival and well-being, then you want to look up a few ideas. And I'm not going to exhaustively touch on this topic because I just want to make a quick and rather lazy video, given I'm tired following my night shift at work. But you want to look up the Lindy effect, which is not going to give you like a one-to-one sort of track between different kinds of lifestyle implements and stuff that's good for long-term survival, but it's something to keep in mind, okay? It's an effect, it's not a law. So I'm not asserting that it's categorically useful to introduce into lifestyle design contexts for every person. You have to address what you're doing on a case-by-case basis. But it's worth keeping in mind because, there are, I think, fairly sober ideas and understandings about stuff that's good for our health on the basis of what was in our ancestral environments. And if you're not like creepily, awkwardly obsessed with ethnic differences or something, you're going to realize, well, what's good for most of us is, to varying degrees depending on introversion versus extroversion, having an active social life, staying hydrated, walking frequently if you can, staying in a state of motion rather than sitting or lying down all day for most days in a week, and eating foods that have few ingredients, not tinkering with or messing with things that are going to produce uncertain side effects like, sketchy nootropics or psychedelics or something, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. So when you're designing your lifestyle, and you're noticing that there's all these trends and fads and gimmicks and shiny new things you can get from the internet, just remember, like, what has been working for humans for pretty much all of our history. I happen to believe in sort of long-term durable evolution. I believe we're, not just a few thousand years old or something. I think could be like, 200,000 years old as Homo sapiens sapiens or something, but I'm not super interested in debates between sort of evolution endorsers and young Earth creationists and whatnot. That's just not my wheelhouse anymore. But yeah, just focus on what is good for human beings in the long run for pretty much all of our history. Now, there are specific features of, say, your ethnicity that are going to have an impact on what's particularly good or bad for you, If you're of maybe certain kinds of European stock, you can tolerate alcohol. I cannot at all. I found that out the hard way. So, but, in my case, I am less concerned about, say, incurring Alzheimer's or something than maybe people here may be. So, don't get too caught up in like ethnic disparities and special qualities. That kind of obsession is not really fruitful for most people. You just want to focus on what's good for most human beings across long stretches of time. Stay active, stay hydrated, stay socially active to whatever extent suits you. Avoid narcotics, psychedelics, nootropics, etc. And, just exercise every facet of your being while also giving yourself downtime to rest and not engage too much with screens. Okay? I have to learn that lesson myself. Thank you for watching and have a good day. And God bless you. And stay sharp and sober.